Alright then. It's stream time from Coolcraft. Finally. It's been a week delay, and that was not an intentional week delay. Unlike the next week delay, which will be intentional. It'll be intentional to be exactly 1 week, to be clear. Hey, as long as this starts, no, we're starting soon. We have started. So, I stand today in a cobblestone shack before you because I've been doing some spoilers for the next episode. But to be fair, this whole stream is part of the next episode. Well, not the whole stream, but you know what I mean. Oh, yeah, also, hello, I shaved since the last stream, so that's fun. But yeah, so today we are getting into running the World Eater. I was going to build this in the last stream. That's what I was going to do, but I ended up just doing that all off stream because I needed to move along with this stuff. So yeah, it's all here, ready to go, and today we are running it. That is the whole plan of today's stream, and also this will be counted as part of the video. So, step 1, just log in my alt account. So, go do that now so we can get the replay mod. Because I realized last season we didn't have replay mod to record the World Eater, and I just did a regular third person, like just spectator time lapse of the whole thing going down. It's cool when you can just like scrub through the video and see woo woo woo, but like then the night and day go like blah 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 blah. Caesars. Anyhow, what am I doing? All right, logged in. I realized that with the render distance of the servers that you couldn't actually entirely see the corners, so I've slightly increased the render distance of the server for this stream in particular. All right. Everything is ready. Everything's loaded. I'm going to press the start recording for the replay there. And now it's empty this. Actually, I got to record this. Okay. I got to record this for the actual YouTube video, so face cam's going off here, but all right. Here we go. Hopefully it doesn't mind doing 2 encodings at once. Alright then, everything has been checked over once and twice, and we are now ready to launch the World Eater here. So, before I go break the redstone block there to start it, we need to run a backup. So, yeah, let's do that. And now I wait like 40 seconds for this backup to be complete. And this will be cut out of the video then. So chat, if anyone's there, how you doing? You like my provocative thumbnail and title? I thought of it this morning. Yeah, we can do more chatting later once we, of course, the thing's actually running. Because just watching this is mostly what the stream is going to be. This world is large enough where backups do happen to take a while these days. Also, hopefully I don't have to load it back because it's going to be very annoying. I don't think there should be a problem with copying the world over, but I don't have access to the graphical session where the server is actually running, so I'd have to, in order to load the backup, I'd have to copy the world and, oh, okay, there's a we'll get that thing. Alright, backup has completed. So there's really nothing stopping us now. Hopefully I built this all correctly. The schematic was correct. I don't think there's been redstone changes. Replay is recording. So let's go. Oh, that lags. And then your eardrums are blown out. Alright, everything's pushed down. Looks like it's going just fine here. Now enjoy the time lapse. Now I say that for the people there. This thing I think is going to take 2 to 3 hours to run. Here, let's just go into spectator mode myself to ensure that all this is, yep, just not updating. Here, let me turn the sound way down. That is kind of annoying. But yeah, this, I've spec'd this out, so this should be fine to go over everything here. My game is, of course, having problems rendering it. But yeah, trees like this shouldn't be a problem. I mean, obviously this is gonna, TNT is gonna blast it down. And if it didn't, the sweepers would just break the leaves. I made sure that on the first level there were no logs. Hello, can this chunk live? Thank you. I made sure that on this level there were no actual logs. Here, I can turn the face cam back on. But yeah, made sure there was no logs in this level. But yeah, so right now I don't have access to the graphical session the server's running in, which is unfortunately where the unfortunately that's where the Minecraft servers run. So I don't directly have access to that. I do have command line access to the server right now though, so I can copy files around and stuff. the servers are set to automatically restart if they were to crash or stop for whatever reason, so I don't need to worry about necessarily needing to stop the server. So basically the game plan is, if the server ever stops, or if I need to load a backup here for whatever reason, I simply stop the server, I stop the server, and in the 10 seconds or so that it reloads, look at all these ghost blocks here. In the 10 seconds or so that it takes to reload the server, I need to copy the whole world across. Now, both the backups and actual world, a live world itself, are stored on NVMe drives. So it should be lightning fast copying once everything's ready. Yep, here's the first push down. I did have a thing today where I moved like a giga. I mean, this is multiple files, but it's on Linux, so I don't have too much in terms of doubts that the system would work. But yeah, today I copied. Yeah, today I was copying on my Windows computer specifically. Today I copied what was over a gigabyte file from drive to drive, and it was instant. So it was like, okay, no problem there. Just show off the setup here. So obviously we have the trenches here. Right along here, these are the stop markers. If I ever need to stop the world eater for any reason, I can place a redstone block 2 blocks over from these cobblestone blocks, basically in this column here, to stop the world eater once it gets there. Down this way, I have already set up a couple of stoppers. So we have these redstone blocks here. This is the initial one. So the auto run, what the time lapse is going to be, is the time lapse is going to be like the 2-ish hour chunk of time when the world eater is just kind of going down through this chunk of the world here until about here. Now the reason for that is I want to be able to collect some diamonds from the world once it gets down to this point, because obviously diamonds start becoming more common, or they exist here and they become more and more common as they go down. And that is also why I've got these additional redstone blocks here, because the further down it gets, obviously the more common diamonds are going to be, and I'm going to want to spend time flying around picking out any diamonds that haven't been blown up. And we're going to keep on doing that all the way down here. And it kind of gets more frequent where how often we stop, until here we're just stopping every back and forth. So hopefully that's that. Actually, here, let me go fly to the center of this area here, which is about here. Oh yeah, I removed the entire witch farm that we did have here. Considering we're, attempting to replace it. No, is this the one? No, I have one of these area selections. Test. No. Scan area. That's it. How many diamonds? Optimistically, three and almost a third shulker, 3 1/4 shulker boxes of diamonds. Optimistically, we're not going to get that nearly that much. There are 7 blocks of obsidian, which we'll have to deal with way later down here. I'm not too worried about those because it's going to be a while before we have to do them, and they're like in caves like this. This one, not specifically, but they are in caves where like the water, or like where the water went down onto a lava lake. So we'll have to deal with those. There will probably be other blocks of obsidian that form in this area later. But yeah, for now, we kind of just sit here and let the world eater start digging down. It's already hit ground over there. Seems to be working great so far. Oh yeah, also almost forgot this. Here, let me not look at my alt account on my second monitor there. I've got this week's soda can. So this is another Poppy. I'm going to try all the flavors that my school has available. I actually went to Walmart today and saw what Poppy can. They had this exact flavor. This is the only one in this size that I could find at Walmart. And it was, after tax, roughly 30 cents cheaper than my school sells it. So school's actually not too far off the price of these. And this is cheaper than a bottle of soda at school. But, the bottles of soda here are like $3 frickin'. When you can get a bottle of soda that's bigger for like $1 at Walmart. So it is a bit of a hike there. Anyway, this is the Alpine Blast. I have no idea what kind of flavor this is going to be. It's kind of like a ginger ale. Yeah. It's basically ginger ale, I think. That's my read on the flavor. As a reminder, for what we had last week, I still have it here. This doesn't show up on camera tool. This is their orange flavor, which actually did taste like actual orange soda. So, I mean, this is like one of the favorite flavors of theirs I've had so far because they actually understood the assignment on this one. Orange soda. It tasted like Pepsi's Crush. So they did a good job for this one. This one, it's Alpine Blast. Again, it doesn't specify what the flavor is supposed to be, but it tastes like ginger ale. So I guess it's that. But Alpine. And overall, it's not terrible. Ingredients. I should go sleep here so you guys can see what's going on. Actually, the torches in the center of this area that was the previous spawn proofing are doing a nice job of illuminating it. Sparkling water. Organic cane sugar. Cassava root fiber. Organic apple cider. Vinegar. I don't know why I stopped. There wasn't a comma there. So, organic apple cider vinegar. Organic is not a regulated word, by the way, people. It means literally nothing. You can just slap organic on basically anything. There's no regulation. Don't trust it. It's just more expensive for no reason. Natural flavors. Apple juice. Lime juice. Organic agave inulin. I-N-U-L-I-N. Inulin. Citric acid. Stevia leaf extract. Acacia vegetable juice. And some sort of something for color. Natural caffeine and citrus pectin concentrate. ACIA. Is that how it's spelled in Minecraft? Can you not do that in spectator mode? Here, let's go down here so I don't get phantomed. Huh! That's interesting. In spectator mode, you can't change whether or not you can see all crafting recipes in the recipe book. That's strange. Maybe that's a bug. It's unnecessary, but it's a bug. Have I actually just not picked up any acacia wood in this world? And damn, that's impressive. Okay, I guess let's go on a detour while the World Eater runs and try to find some of that. This is a spur of the moment little side quest I'm on here. I actually can't believe that I haven't picked up any of that all season long. This whole thing is being loaded by my alt account right now, which is running replay mods, so it's not a big deal that this is not going to happen here. I mean, it's nothing too interesting at the moment. Oh yeah, here. Before this is all gone away, I'll show it up a little bit more up close here. Oof, you animals ain't got long to live, and you guys can't escape. So I guess enjoy the last kind of like half hour that you guys have at most. Yeah, so this is where the witch farm used to be. The witch hut is right here. These are the pits where the bubble columns started, and this was where all the redstone was. Yeah, that's basically it. That's all that remains of it. I took the whole thing down in preparation for this. I really technically only needed to remove the bottom part, but I felt like removing the whole thing anyway because, it'll lower rates. Anyhow, let's go find a savanna biome, and I don't entirely know where the one is from here, so we're going to go back to the treehouse. Oh yeah, also, I did this extension to the nether tunnel here at some point. And, yeah, it makes it much easier to get back, so I don't have to fly through the random open nether. All in the nice safe tunnels now. Ah. Alright. To the overworld. Actually, I just realized I know exactly where there are there's a savannah biome. Near my mob farm there is. This is honestly quite surprising. Oh wait, I turned down game sounds. I was like, wait, why didn't I hear any portal noises? I turned on the game sounds because of the TNT. That's right. So yeah, here's a desert and a mesa. I forgot there was a little bit of a mesa biome over this way. Spawn is the much bigger mesa, so whenever I've needed terracotta, I've gone there. Yeah, it's also kind of yeah. Here's not. I mean, this is a savannah, but this has got what I need. Oh look, Usk with a lead. There's a wandering trader around here. Oh, black bunny. Oh, rabbit meat. I'll probably consume that. There we go. There's our target. ECACIA. Yeah, there's some of this wood in my drink. Or at least it's spelled the same way. Vegetable juice. Oh wait, there's a comma after that. So literally just acacia. Whatever the fuck that is. Literally this wood. Whatever the fuck this wood is. There is some of that in this can of soda. That is wild, man. I did not expect that, honestly. Alright, back to the World Eater then. We need to monitor its progress. Oh, man. But yeah, anyhow, ooh. I'll say, though, there was... This stream may not have happened today. It may have, unfortunately, been 2 weeks drought of no streaming. Which I was not looking forward to be clear. But, some unfortunate circumstances came up. And now I get to stream. A little bit depressing why I get to stream, but hey, I was just about to go back to the end. I'm so used to just coming this way and going back to my base. Man, I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing next in my base. To be fair, I do feel like the season is winding down, which is why it's really weird that I'm making World Eater in a better witch farm right now. Because, like, this season feels like it's getting close to... I mean, it's close to a year since we started. It was early, like, very beginning of November when we started this season. And I'm thinking around probably early December is when I'm aiming to end this season. But hey, we'll see. Oh yeah, we also haven't updated to 21.9 yet. It's probably going to go right to 21.10. But there are a couple reasons for that. One, I'm not really ready to get that done yet. I'll do that sometime after the witch farm stuff is done. But more, I actually can't really update the server right now too well. That same issue I mentioned earlier with the graphical session and stuff kind of makes it hard for me to update the server. Because, again, I can't turn the server off for more than 10 seconds. And I need to replace both the server jar file. And I'd need to change out all the mods. And also, I have no access to the actual live console. So I'm not able to see any logs related to mods or data packs or anything like that. So yeah, it's fun. Data packs wouldn't be too hard to update though, because that is just a swap them out and then / reload. Oh yeah, also, this guy. I'm not entirely sure how this guy got here. I'm pretty certain this must have been a lightning strike, because I'm pretty sure he wasn't there when I dug the trench. And this was the last trench to be dug, so it's not possible for him to have gotten all the way from that nether portal over there to right here in that time. Because obviously there's a big old hole in the ground here. So I think it's quite possible that that piglin is actually a lightning piglin, which is pretty rare. yeah, that's about it. Oh yeah, this was where I started the stream. I accidentally broke this leap block, but yeah, this is a little protective thing. Let's go into spectator mode. It doesn't technically matter that I'm in there, it's just so that I have a safe place when I leave spectator mode. Yeah, we can watch the epic, super fast digging progress. And in reality, no, this does actually dig super fast. Like, even this hill, that strip there was way faster than I could have mined. These upper layers, though, are obviously not too impressive. It's once we start getting down into the lower layers, especially once water starts getting involved, and like 6 blocks here, that this machine becomes very impressive. The thing that really makes this machine, you know, something special, not just a ton of TNT dupers that are precisely positioned, is the fluid sweepers right here that are able to completely remove fluids from the world before the TNT gets at them. That precision is what makes this machine so good. It's what makes this machine so good, it makes it work so good. Now obviously we do have to worry about unexplodable blocks like waterlogged blocks, obsidian, and netherite would technically be a concern, but we're in the overworld, so that doesn't really matter. Yeah, look at this corner here. It's all water. Now, unlike last season, there aren't giant, or the amount of like waterlogged caves that exists in this area isn't necessarily as impressive as last season had it. But there still are some, like, if I remember correctly, I was looking around. Yeah, down here, this is a pretty sizable waterlogged cave system here. That would be a pain to clear out by hand. And there's a couple other reservoirs and bits. But yeah, this was actually pretty decent in terms of not having too much waterlogged stuff in the area. The trenches weren't that hard to dig. Like, I remember last season was a pain with digging the trenches, because there was a massive waterlogged cave that on one of these big trenches that I had to cut right through. Yeah, not that we didn't necessarily have a big one here. Like, right here there was a pretty sizable waterlogged cave / ocean here. But it was 1,000 times worse last season. It was really big last season, and you can kind of see that in the footage. But yeah. But yeah, so heads up on the streaming schedule. Next week there will be so next weekend no streams because it's Columbo Day weekend, so I won't be around to do the streams. There also probably won't be a video next weekend unless I don't get the video out this week, in which case the video I'm currently working on will be out next weekend. After that, who's to say? Ideally, I'll be doing streaming. I'll stream 2 weeks from now, but I can't really guarantee that because stuff might happen between now and then. The week after that, probably gonna be, so I guess like 3 weeks from now, likely we'll be able to stream on Friday at very least. Not necessarily sure about Sunday at that point. I might have something going on, but I should be good for Friday unless again something comes up. And after that, I don't think I'm gonna have a problem in November. Besides, Thanksgiving. I have no idea what's going on with Thanksgiving this year, but I'm not gonna be here doing streaming during Thanksgiving. I can tell you that. And then there's only gonna be, as per usual, there's only gonna be like 1, maybe 2 stream weeks. Oh, cows, get in the business here. There's only gonna be a couple little there may be 1 or 2 streams after Thanksgiving. I can't entirely be sure as I don't know what the academic calendar is looking like. But It certainly is the case, though, that, like, once the exam week starts, it's like, well, I'm at some point during that week, I'm out of here because, going home. And I'm probably not going to be able to guarantee doing any streams at home, but that's also probably going to be close to when we're starting the new season of Coolcraft anyway. And I'm not entirely sure what I'd stream at that point. To be fair, I usually don't know what to stream. Obviously, last school year, I was streaming Satisfactory most of the time. But for most of Season 6, which is when I really started streaming again, the road buildings, us building the roads around the main part of the base, that was a great thing for me to stream. One of those is the second or third most viewed stream on my channel for no apparent reason. I reused that title and thumbnail so many times. But one of them specifically blew up. Yeah. Something. Ooh, waterlog cave there. That's gonna get taken care of. Getting close here. I actually still got a few blocks. So I had class today where one of the things that we ended up talking about kind of got me thinking about how, like, in at least, like, computing and stuff, a lot of stuff that's seemingly quite obvious to us today. Like, you think, why would someone need to specifically invent that? Isn't that obvious? Was something that was legitimately invented by someone. It was kind of a big deal at some point. One of these such things is linked lists, which, if you don't know what it is, don't worry about it. It's basically a way of storing data. But it was like a legitimate thing that people just had never thought of before. And I've heard the story of how they were invented. Some, like, grad students were given a project to do something with, like, recursion. And this was way in the early days of computers. Personal computers that were, like, not a thing at this time. And so they were, trying to figure out what to do for this project. They were smoking weed, and that's the funniest part, that they were just, like, on drugs when they thought about this. And then they came up with the idea for linked lists. But they didn't call it that. They called them snake trains. It's like a snake eating another snake. It's like a snake train. And that's what they were legitimately called for a while. And then like, a whole bunch of, professors were, like, started doing research with, like, ooh, what if we did them like this and this? And that was, like, legitimately the name used until someone was like, Or a bunch of people were like, this is kind of a stupid name to call something that's this professional. And so they gave it a more, like, appropriate name. Obviously, linked lists. And the fact that they almost were called that. But that being said, that wasn't actually what was specifically talked about today, but that's one of the things I thought about. What is it that we're talking about? We're talking about, technically problem-solving algorithms right now, but, search algorithms, that's what it is. Search algorithms. And one of the and so, we're going through the basic types of search algorithms that exist. You got your depth-first search, breadth-first search, all that sort of thing. And there is this thing called, so there is this search algorithm, which is, I forget, I think it's like unified unit cost or something like that. That's his official name. It was invented by someone. It's also known by that person's name. But basically, this is the best first search algorithm, just with a different cost function or whatever. And it's like, really? Someone needed to invent that to the point where they put their name on it? That wasn't an immediate obvious thing, because the way best first works is it looks at immediate cost and it's like, okay, whatever one of these lowest, I'll just go that way. Versus this algorithm doesn't just look at the immediate cost, it looks at, like, the total cost of what's going on. And it's like, that is apparently such a big deal to just brain that slight change in there, that it's like, oh, we need to do that differently. That's a whole different search algorithm. I don't know many other, or, like, can't think of many other fields where that would be, like, just how things work. Like, incredibly obvious things that like, you think about, like, engineering or something like this. You obviously don't have things like that. Engineering's been around a real long time. And it started with the obvious stuff, and people just kind of figuring out what was what. And heck, math was not a thing in engineering until, like, 150 to 200 years ago. Like, math was just, like, not a thing that was ever done in engineering fields for the longest time. Or for most of history. Engineering and math, completely separate things. Math, what are these numbers? I don't understand how to use them. I'm building a bridge here. Legitimately how it worked for a very long time. But obviously nowadays, math is completely inseparable from engineering. And obviously, you know, the Romans didn't use, I mean, obviously there was, like, math, but it was rudimentary math. It wasn't anything like calculus or differential equations or the specific force equations for this bridge or whatever. That's not the kind of math that the Romans would have been doing when they were building their aqueducts. They would have been doing some sort of math, obviously. Like, oh, we need 30 stones per archway, and we're building 20 archways across here. You know, basic math like that was definitely done. But they didn't do math to figure out, like, how, like, to figure out the forces or anything like that. That's a modern thing. Obviously, with this with modern math or whatever, we've been able to go take engineering to all new levels, building taller, faster, bigger, stronger than ever. But, like, that's a relatively recent thing. That's just, you know, an interesting thought. Alright, water is leaking down the sides here. Let's go. But yeah, anyhow, so it's like a lot of these fields, these incredibly simple and commonplace, like, ideas for how things work, obvious ideas, obviously were already known about and no one could have just invented them. But, like, in computing, a lot of this stuff was just, like, being invented. So, like, and no one had ever had to think about these before. So, like, very simple ideas, just kind of, someone was able to say, this is a brand new idea, I slap my name on it. And then everyone knows it by that until everyone's just like, oh, well, that's just kind of common sense, but just use a generic name for it. Wild stuff. That or other fields are just so complex beyond basic knowledge that it's like, well, obviously, like, there's, like, this giant discovery that has someone's name on it, but that's, like, you know, it requires a whole, like, career's worth of knowledge to fully understand why this is the case, and it's only in, like, these specific situations where this discovery actually applies. And versus a lot of stuff in early computing is like, yeah, I just, like, yeah, man, they were just, like, snakes that were eating each other, and that's why we have linked lists. What other field? I mean, I suppose artificial intelligence probably... Well, artificial intelligence is basically just computers, or just computer science stuff. So they don't even really get, like, a distinction. I mean, now this shocks me. There are somehow people that don't, like, consider, or for some reason just don't think that computer science is directly related to artificial intelligence. So they're like, don't, like, immediately think, oh, the computer people, that's who we should be consulting about artificial intelligence. Which doesn't make any sense to me, because, at least in my mind, artificial intelligence is like, oh, that's, like, the heavy computer stuff. I mean, I guess that's just kind of the world that I've, you know, got myself in right now. But, like, the fact that you could do AI, that, like, you could have, like, AI be, like, a core focus of, say, an institution, but not have your computing people involved at all is just baffling to me, that anyone could possibly think like that. And yet that's kind of how how it happens. To be fair, investors, they don't know what's going on. When you have, like, these big investors out there like, oh yes, AI, everything is AI. You slap AI on it, here's $5 billion. What's that? You put more, here's even more money. Users hate you, take all of my money. That is basically what investors are like these days. It's almost like the .com bubble, where you put .com at the end of it, and here's a bunch of money. It's my shitty business, .com. Well, it's probably a good thing. Here's a truckload of money. Double.com. Oh my god, you're going to the moon! And then it turns out there's no fucking reason for any of this to exist and the market crashes. That's what's happening with AI. That's gonna happen. The investors never learn. They are unequivocally quite stupid about how things actually work. The .com bubble proved it, and the current AI bubble proves it. It's a bubble, people. Maybe get your kicks off right now investing, but like, in the next couple of years, shit's gonna hit the fan. The bill is gonna start coming due for these AI companies. The public is gonna get sick of it. And then all of a sudden, the stock prices are gonna drop, and the investors are gonna realize, wait, we got a whole lot of nothing here. This AI thing has been burning money. That's another reason. The .com bubble, a lot of these companies were, part of the reason the .com bubble was so bad is because a lot of these companies had no idea what they were doing. Just completely no path to actually making any money with a website. Because, they're just like, oh, I'll just start a business in .com and I got all that venture capital money. And it's a little bit different these days. These companies, people starting these companies may be a bit more experienced. They may actually have an idea of how they're going to make money. But they're not making any money. It's part of how venture capital really works these days. But they're not making any fucking money. Because this AI shit is ridiculously expensive. Some of them are, but most of them aren't. They're either paying a bajillion dollars to Nvidia. Like, Nvidia, to be clear, is like that one company that is actually making a fuck ton of money off of this. But that's because they're selling the pickaxes to the miners. Because, in a gold rush, everyone rushes to the location of the gold to try to strike it rich. But the people who actually strike it rich are the people who bring the pickaxes and sell them to people. The miners almost never strike it rich. They go, quite frankly, bankrupt. But those who sold the miners the pickaxes and the shovels and the services, they're the ones who get rich off of it. Nvidia is the one selling the pickaxes right now. They're getting rich off it. They are actually making money. But the reason why the other companies aren't is because they're forking over truckloads of money to Nvidia for their products. For the GPUs or... for the GPUs or whatever, and then they're also paying out the nose for the electricity costs of these things, because a small town can be powered with the amount of electricity it takes to train AI. Like, are we finally at water sweeping height? Next push down, I think. Oh yeah. This very shallow surface ocean is going by next time. Anyhow. So basically, what I'm saying is OpenAI is burning money and they have none. Because, to be clear, they're doing a bunch of research, which is pretty cool. And they got all this venture capital funding. But each one of these GPUs, just to purchase it, costs as much as a entry-level car. And that is maybe not even the highest end GPU. These things cost $30,000 to maybe $50,000 per GPU. And they need hundreds of these to train their models. And that's just buying the GPUs. Then they actually got to run them. That is another expensive task. But sure. Sky's the limit, guys. Now, to be fair, Nvidia is actually based on something more real, actually selling these GPUs, which they're doing really well at, to be clear. The problem is that once the AI bubble pops, the demand for these GPUs is going to collapse overnight. Because all of a sudden, all the investors are getting out of these AI companies. These companies start folding. They're not, the existing companies that survive are not going to buy more GPUs. They're going to just keep what they have or maybe try to sell them. Nvidia's demand is going to collapse overnight, and so will their stock price. Will they go out of business? No, Nvidia's not going out of business. but they will have to reevaluate their markets. They might actually go back to primarily selling gaming GPUs. Doubt it, but they might. But their profits will not be as high, so, you know. The bubble is gonna burst when someone realizes built on a pyramid of lies. Well, someone already has. A lot of people have. It's just the people who actually put the money into these systems haven't. And they will at some point, to be clear. And I think and hope that that is soon. Because I'm sick and tired of companies shoving AI into every corner. Now, to be clear, the likes of Microsoft and Google are not going out of business because of this. They are the companies that they survived the dot-com bubble. They'll survive this as well, because their business is, predicated on other things, quite frankly. But a lot of the smaller companies, the startups that went hard into AI, will probably go out of business, especially if they're not profitable. Because a lot of these companies rely on VC funding, continuous VC funding. OpenAI might go out of business. I'm not sure. Microsoft might save them because Microsoft has basically infinite money. Microsoft, Google, they have basically infinite money. Meta as well, they do a bunch of AI stuff. They're probably fine. They're not going to go out of business either. Again, if these companies were created for AI, then they're probably fucked. Don't invest in them. This is not investment advice. But if they were pre-existing and just happened to also now be doing AI like Google and Microsoft, they're probably fine. OpenAI might be fine as well because Microsoft might just bail them out, and they might also just take over OpenAI entirely. But hey, that's just business, baby. Yeah, that'll be sad because that will cause a lot of economic issues when that happens. Lots of economic issues. Which is the unfortunate part. But I want all the bubbles to pop so that we can go back to a normal society where houses don't cost a ridiculous amount of money and all that. And all that jazz. Alright, well, I have to go to the bathroom here, so I will leave I will go into spectator mode. Go to the center-ish here. Wow, this looks way different than when we started. And then I will go to the bathroom and I will be back in a little while. Alright. Got a bit of stuff going. Oh, I'm not clicked on Minecraft. Woohoo, let's go back. So, tomorrow, SNL finally returns. That's some great news there, finally. I'm wondering what news stories from this week they will be using within the opening, because I forgot what happened this week. There was times when I was thinking, oh, that's probably a good candidate. Oh, that's probably a good candidate for what the opening sketch is going to be. But, no idea. There have been so many moments within the past couple weeks that would have made for great either SNL sketches or just opening sketches. But yeah, what did happen this week? It's been such a long week, I don't even remember. What big thing? Because obviously they're gonna do something taking aim at the president. That's obviously what's gonna happen. Oh, government shutdown. That's what it's gonna be. Duh. It's like, right, yeah, that's the big thing that happened this week. The government shutdown happened in the middle of the week. And that's still ongoing for now. So yeah, that's what they're going to be targeting. They're going to be targeting the government shutdown and probably the president in his role in all this, I'd imagine. Because, well, it's probably his fault, to be fair. I'm blaming him personally. And I'll say, hey, to Democrats in Congress, hold out. Hold out as long as it takes. I believe the sticking point right now of all the horrible things that the current administration's doing that they could be trying to get concessions on, the one thing that they're currently predicating this whole thing on is healthcare and making sure that that doesn't get cut, which, okay, sure. You can't, obviously, they're never going to give in to all your demands or whatever, and it's unreasonable for that long. But I think this is probably a worthy hill worth dying on, specifically to prevent people from dying more directly. But there are so many other things that they could have required concessions on. But this is probably the thing that most Democrats could probably agree on. And to be fair, it's not like the Republicans have never done this exact same thing before. So when you hear them crying about it, just know they would do exactly the same thing. They're massive hypocrites, right? It's only because they're the ones who are negatively impacted by this that they're complaining. That's usually how it is in politics, but in this situation specifically, that is what is going on. They are just complaining because they are not the ones who are in charge, in control of the situation. Which is especially ironic, considering they do actually have control, and they do actually have power and control in this situation. Considering they have a majority in both houses, and they still can't fucking do it. It's probably something in the Senate where they actually need more people than they have. But still, it's like, you guys are pathetic. Like, actually pathetic. No one likes you. You can't even get, like, can't even prevent the government from shutting down. Also, actually, more interesting recently, I found out why it's October 1st when the shutdown happens and matters, and not, like, I don't know, January. Because it was January originally. It literally, when the whole fiscal year and budgetary years was first implemented in, like, the early 1800s, it was actually supposed to be, like, the beginning of the year, matched up with when the finances were a thing. But then, at some point, I think maybe the Civil War had something to do with it, Congress was like, oh, we need more time to do the budget thing. We're going to push it back 6 months. So then it was at the end of June when so then the financial year would set to end at the end of June, and that's when the budget would roll over. Then just because Congress didn't want to have to rush through this thing to get to their summer session, they, at some point, I think in the 20th century, early 20th century, they pushed it all the way back to October so that they could deal with it after their summer breaks. Gang, Okay, server performance is good. What absolute assholes. Alright, let's see how far. We've gotten... We've actually gone down quite far in the last almost hour that we've been live. 50 minutes, really. Now, obviously, it hasn't been exactly 15 minutes. It did take a couple minutes to get this thing started, but not that long, actually, so... Yeah. Just, you know... It's also fine for me to be jumping and hopping around in here, just as long as I stay away from the TNT itself. That's the killer. Other than that, it's completely fine to be in here. Oh, I can collect coal if I wanted it. I don't. I have a ton of coal, quite frankly. I have a whole farm that produces truckloads of that stuff eventually. And also, you know, we're closing in on the end of the season. Something, actually, I might do, once I'm done with this, is I might see if I can actually, for once, make a fully diamond beacon. That is something that I have wanted to do several times in the past, and I've had technically the correct number of diamonds to do it. I just never get around to doing it. So I think once this project is done, I will go and figure out what I need to do to actually make that happen. Whether it's find a ton more diamonds, or more accurately just, you know, fortune all the diamonds that I have. I will build a diamond beacon. And I'm never going to go for full netherite. That's just too much. It is a lot of effort to mine for netherite, even with TNT tubers, because you run into so many lava pockets. I swear, in the time since 1.16 came out, lava pockets in the nether have become increasingly common. I don't know why, but that's just what it feels like. Every time, because like, in Season 4, I built a massive nether flying machine. Or a massive, like, tunnel bore system in the nether. That worked really well, and, you know, I came across my fair share of things, but it was really long, so that would kind of made sense. And I still got a good return on that. And I could still dig forwards quite far and quite fast with it. But in the past couple seasons, I've had much smaller tunnel boards. Yeah, I've run into lava much more frequently. And I've also had really bad luck. Heck, even this season, I just kind of gave up. I did get some netherite. Maybe I should work on that. Maybe my next stream will just be me tunneling for netherite. That's an idea. Bum, bum, bum. But yeah, so 21.9/10, the Copper Age is, you know, I don't care too much about the copper or the copper golems. It's just, For me, I've never really found a good build palette for myself that uses copper. Obviously, this season especially not. I mean, I'm a little bit glad they didn't announce an end update, because that would have made my base just right me building it right before they did an end update. Although I do expect an end update is coming. They do eventually listen to the community on this, and I'm sure they've been working on this for a while now. Like, the actual 1.22 is probably going to be the end update. Just because that's what people are demanding. And it's going to be a big update. Because I don't think the drop system prevents them from doing big updates. I think they will still do massive major updates. More on the lines of 1.16. But they're going to be much further and farther in between. They're going to be developing a bunch of these smaller game drops in between to tide us over. And they're going to make, they're not going to burn themselves out doing this. I know there's a lot of people in the community that can't believe that Mojang is capable of this. But mind you, there's a bunch of people that work on Java Edition. Not all of them are full-time Java Edition. Some of them have other jobs but occasionally work on Java Edition. Kind of like Jeb. And they all do... And, so, like, some of them are definitely, twiddling away in the background, working on things for future updates. 2 drops from now, or even, the major update, which is probably the end update. So, I mean, they're definitely working on that sort of stuff in the background, slowly, just to make sure they can get done. But once they finally get to the point where, hey, we're doing another major update, this will be the end update. It'll be, complete overhaul of the end. We'll get new, end biomes, first of all. We'll get end biomes. We'll get this. We'll get that. All of this. Also, mind you, this also could be, stuff taking a bit of time because Vibrant Visuals is coming to Java, but it's taking a long time as they have to, do a lot of rewrites of the rendering engine to support, this more advanced technology. Minecraft wasn't built for this. Bedrock, I think, had a slightly easier time with this because they already had ray tracing and weird crap going on. They were able to just throw a bunch of people at it and, it's done. But Bedrock is just fundamentally different. But they are planning to bring it to Java. They have said that. And we actually have seen evidence of them doing a bunch of things to work towards Vibrant Visuals, like modifications to the rendering engine of the game. So yeah, they will bring it here. They have a plan. It's going to take a while because Java's rendering engine needs a lot of work, to be fair. I mean, here's an example of why Java's rendering engine needs a lot of work. Wait for this thing to get going again. Go over this way. And then go back. Hey, look! This stuff isn't moving. Hey, look! Chunks are having problems loading over this way. Look at that. That chunk's not loading. This rendering engine needs work. It's not that Java's rendering engine can't be improved. Obviously, they're going to improve it. And this is with Sodium, mind you. I have Sodium running here. So this is already an optimized rendering stuff in Minecraft, and it still has issues that Bedrock doesn't have. So they're definitely rewriting it. Hopefully they don't give it the issues Bedrock has and just make it flat better. But yeah. I definitely think this is... And Vibrant Visuals will be interesting. Obviously, I hope it's not on by default in Java. It's on by default in Bedrock, apparently. But I hope with Java it is explicitly not on by default, because there's a lot of people who run Java on lower end, computers, where that won't work too well. And I probably won't play with it all the time. I'll obviously play with it, I'll occasionally do things with Vibrant Visuals, but I won't necessarily have that on all the time, because, well, it just doesn't feel necessary. I like Minecraft to look like this, and it's cool to have, built-in shaders. Because admittedly, we've had Vibrant Visual-esque things, in terms of shader packs, for a really long time. Obviously, there have been RTX shaders in the game for a long time. The main thing with Vibrant Visuals is, especially this is good that Mojang decided to do it this way, so they didn't want to just, reinvent the wheel. They didn't want to reinvent the wheel. They wanted to, and just, copy stuff that already exists. They wanted to do something different. And that's what Vibrant Visuals is. It's pixel accurate, pixel consistent shaders, which is something that I've never seen done in any other game before, to be clear. And it's also very Minecrafty. No actual shader packs done that. Like RTX shaders or whatever that we've had, if there's a shadow, it is fully just accurate to the actual player model, and it'll cut directly diagonally in high def across a block. Versus obviously Vibrant Visuals, it limits itself directly to each pixel on the block, which is pretty cool. Water's leaking down again. Here, let's go over to the other side again. Actually, here. The rendering engine needs work, guys. It's not that my computer doesn't have those blocks on it. It does. Heck, the replay that is recording right now, it definitely is having ghosting issues where the chunks aren't necessarily updating visually good. But within the replay, in the render, these chunks will be changing correctly. This is because the game is actually receiving these blocks, just the rendering engine isn't updating them quick enough. It's spending more time on things like that than on drawing those chunks in the first place. The server is having no problem sending those to me, to be clear. And to be fair, it is a good thing that the server actually prioritizes chunks right next to the player. That way, when I'm doing stuff, if something just laggy like this happens to be going on in the background, but I'm building my house over here, I can actually see what I'm doing. But it does make trying to view this annoying. Ooh, my phone's battery's a bit low. Oh yeah, I guess I'll talk about this. Because this happened yesterday. So, my phone was showing me a thing, was like, oh, you can update to Android 16. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. And then I accidentally forgot to plug my phone in at some point while I was doing stuff yesterday, and the battery died. And when it rebooted, it installed the update. So that was fun. And now I gotta get used to a massively different UI in a lot of ways. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 times. See, that's 28. So in about an hour, we went down 28 blocks. So from like 80. From now on, it really is doing the speed work. From 80 to like 4. Yeah, that's about 2.7 hours to just let this thing run down to that stopping point. I definitely suspect the stream will be over before then, because WAN show or whatever. Assuming that they don't go ridiculously late today. Which, you never know. They might. You never know with WAN show. They can be ridiculously late. Now, over the past couple weeks, they haven't been particularly late. And I found out why during last week's show, I believe. It's because LMG has been doing a thing where it's like, hey, so Fridays in summer, why not just like give people like half the day or the entire day off Fridays in summer? I think it was half the day. So it's like, oh, Fridays in summer, just go home early, enjoy summer. For no ding on your paycheck or whatever. That's most employees. Obviously, not everyone does. You know, there's probably critical employees. I mean, there's definitely Linus and that. Obviously, the WAN show crew, they're still there all day on Fridays. Other people are there. But a lot of the company has time off. And because of that, Linus isn't getting his, getting ridiculously distracted. So he's just able to do regular work on Fridays. And then he's able to go home. And then, like, when it's time for WAN show, he's like, oh, I'll just go to WAN show. And then WAN show isn't late that week. Unless Luke is doing something weird like traveling, which he's been doing a lot recently. But now that summer's over and they're going back to their full work week schedule, we can, yeah, go back to that. Or that WAN show is going to be late again, basically. So yeah, that means longer streams for me, I guess. But yeah. Also, let's see. Ah, chunks, not loading. See? Rendering engine needs some work. Let's see. Oh, things I should talk about. What should I talk about? There's no one in chat to give me ideas to talk about. There never is, but you know, there's no one else here right now. Now this is going real well with the World Eater. So I guess I'll. The World Eater actually took surprisingly little time for me to actually build. I mean, it still took me like 6 hours all in all. But that was surprisingly little time. I was kind of expecting it to take more. And that doesn't include building the platforms from last stream. I guess that was something else. But I was surprised with how quickly I managed to do it. And I guess this is a little bit spoilers for the episode. But, you know, we're running this thing right here. This is a part of the episode. This whole this whole like World Eater running is going to be a time lapse in the episode. So like, I guess it's already spoiled. But yeah, this to build this side over here. To build this side over here, it took like almost 5 hours to do this entire side, because this is where we have both the pushdown stations and also the flying machines themselves. Specifically on the second level here, this is a very complex system for pushdown on this side for some reason, as well as we have to build the flying machines themselves, almost as one big unit. But this side over here only took me like 2 hours to do the whole thing, which was a little bit crazy because this side has a lot less stuff. It's just these much simpler pushdown stations. Mind you, they have dragon eggs in them, but still. And these are basically the same sweeper pushdown stations that we have on the other side here. Which makes it a little bit... It is a little bit harder to build those, I'll admit. The reason why this side is so much easier to build is because we have the actual sweepers themselves in here at the same time, which creates a bit of an extra stuff. But like, this side, these are here... I mean, I consider this side a little bit more annoying to build because the platform's here. Oh, hang on. I got an incoming call. I need to mute. At long last, that phone call is over. I'm back. And yes, legitimately, that was over an hour. Dang. Streams. How is WAN Show not started yet? It has been over 2 hours since I started the stream, and WAN Show hasn't started yet. Mind you, the last hour it was silent because I was on a phone call there. And no, update on the stream schedule. There will be no streams. What is that now? Next week, the week after, the week after, the week after next week. Hopefully that makes sense. But so I guess it's going on in every other for August. October. For October, we're I guess on an every other week streaming schedule. I suppose that's what's going on. So that's concrete now. What's going on with that? We have made phenomenal progress here, and again, very shocked that WAN Show hasn't started yet. Yeah, this thing is just kind of going. Where's the thing I was just looking at? I was occasionally showing this, just checking how far down we've gotten. Like, we started with the machine's bottom being all the way up here. And now we are all the way down here. We are starting to approach that stop block there, which is currently the goal for this time-lapse, this stream, this whatever. Yeah, obviously this thing's making progress. We have our first lava pool here, which we are, 2 sweeps from being able to take into account. We've got a lot of different water things have been taken advantage of. We got that one diamond that I found. In case you're wondering, I have retextured diamonds to make them easier to spot in these sort of situations. Specifically once we get into Deep Slate, but we are going to, right here soon, start entering diamonds. And I say that, it's still like 8 blocks away. But the diamond level is coming up. There's only like a stack and a bit of diamonds, or regular diamonds in here, but there's a ton of Deep Slate diamonds. Now, I know I just had that ridiculously long phone call without being able to comment or do anything. Besides, I guess, just fly around for a while. But I have to go to the bathroom now. So I will be back once again. But this time it should be significantly quicker than what we just did. What just happened there with the phone call. So, muting. Okay, that was strange. While I was in the bathroom, my headphones disconnected from my computer. Oh, I need to get rid of that text. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so while I was in the bathroom, my headphones disconnected from my computer, and it sounded like they connected with another device. that they then proceeded to again disconnect from somehow. But then my phone had a bit of audio through it. I'm confused as to all heck what happened there. But we're back for the foreseeable future until WAN show starts. Because, actually, let me just validate that I just didn't miss the notification because Twitch is spamming me or something like that. It's scheduled for 9:30 right now. Okay. Okay, that's an interesting title and thumbnail. Why is it scheduled for 9:30? Okay, so within the next half hour, less than that, is when WAN show should start and this stream will then end. But yeah, we have gotten much farther than I expected in this stream, and definitely will get down to the stopping point today. As a reminder, the time lapse in the video that will hopefully be coming out Sunday, I cannot guarantee that though. I will actually have to... there it goes, lava's all gone. Like that. But, the running of this is a massive thing, but hopefully what I can do is I can get this thing driven all the way down. I can put in the witch farm in here. Actually, let's go find it. Witch hut. Is this thing turned off? Why is it not? Hello? Huh. That's a problem. I don't know why Servux isn't working. Yeah, let me get dungeons. Wait, are dungeons in here? It's because the master toggle is on. Unknown. Wait, is mineshaft in there? Yeah, mineshaft. Okay. That's fucking stupid. So it obviously... It's got mineshafts. There's a mineshaft right here, evidently, and there's another mineshaft over here. So, why the fuck is the witch hut not working? The witch hut is around here somewhere. Worst comes to worst, I guess I gotta look at a backup, or an older backup, to see where the witch farm precisely is. Actually, oh, I don't even need to do that. I grabbed recently, and I don't remember why, I grabbed the region file for this area, which would have the old witch farm in it, so I can do that at very least to... Yeah, but that's weird. Like, obviously the mine shafts are working, but why is the witch hut not displaying a bounding box? Because, again, it's not like we don't have the server-side mod to do this. Obviously, we wouldn't be able to see these mineshaft hitboxes here if we didn't have the server-side mod component of this. So that's very strange that the witch hut is not being rendered there. Turn mineshafts off. Just verifying that the witch hut main does not seem like that is completely transparent. Maybe I need to reload the chunks. Here, let's go. Actually, that could be. I definitely... See? This witch hut's doing it! There it is. Okay, I just need to fly away and come back. Alright, yeah, here's where the witch hut is. This purple box right here. And, yeah, we are well below this thing. I don't think we're necessarily below where the drop platform would be. It's gone! What the hell? Mini HUD / Servux. What the hell? Alright, whatever. I can access that if it's necessary. Yeah, but here's more waterlogged caves. Yeah, definitely with this compared to last season, it's not as impressive waterlogged cave-wise, because obviously we've had way less waterlogged caves. Overall, it's a good thing, but, you know, it's just a potential thing that we gotta know about here. So actually here, let me go to the center of this and use this to search for the amount of obsidian. There's 7 obsidian. Let me just 7 of this. So that's obviously very deep in there, and I will need to make sure I can get rid of that stuff before we hit it. But for now, we should be good. I don't think any additional obsidian has been generated. I'm pretty sure it's like right here. In fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's literally all right here. This is all the obsidian in the area right now. So we know that's there, and we'll also then know if the amount of obsidian in the area increases, then it's going to be somewhere else. Simple as that. We love simplicity. Man, it was also relatively warm today, which was a bit surprising. Almost felt like a summer day. It's fall, not summer. The weather doesn't know what it's doing. Silly weather. You're broadcasting the wrong season out there. It's supposed to be a bit cooler, with that crisp scent of fall air. But yeah, so I guess yeah, the Minecraft 1.21.9 update, the Copper Age, that did come out this week. I know I've talked about briefly, but yeah, that came out this week. That is, you know, interesting. That's interesting stuff. I'm mostly excited about the server management protocol, but I gotta figure out how I'm actually gonna utilize that on Coolcraft, because I mean, I did make that thing, but that's not gonna cut. Kind of not gonna cut it because I don't want to directly expose the management API to the internet, because possible problems there. I also don't want to have to wrangle SSL certificates to Minecraft, because, and mostly this is because Minecraft will use the certificates and then nope. And then when those certificates get re-rolled or refreshed, the server's gonna need to restart to apply those fresh certificates, and I don't want to have to try automating that or figuring out how to do that. Cha-ching. A pillager? Ah, there's a pillager patrol in there. Hey, let's watch these idiots die. I need more rockets. Let's go back here so I don't accidentally break the world eater. I am actually kind of shocked how late Wansha was today. But yeah, let's keep these guys nice and loaded so that they can learn what the world eater does to anything in its path. Spoiler alert, it eats it. Is it possible to jungle gym around this thing? No, it's not. Well, I guess. Aha! It is possible. What do you know? What do you know? Oh, I was hoping to bounce off that. Oh, hey, a slime. Guess there's a slime chunk here as well. A slunk, if you will. World Eater's at the complete other end here. Actually, no, I shouldn't do that. I think we're now into diamond territory, so I really should be doing, or I should be a bit more diligent about looking for actual diamonds. But I want to see these guys get absolutely obliterated by the World Eater as it comes through. So, you know, we gotta just sacrifice a couple diamonds potentially for absolute genius. You fools have no idea what you have gotten yourself into. My machine will be your downfall, and I will stand up here far away from you while it does so. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, hey, look, there's a big old water cave over that way. That way. Check that out in spectator mode after these guys get absolutely obliterated. Now, you know, I realize I gotta... Now that there's a new version of Minecraft out, I should probably go figure out updating the various mods I've developed. That might also include that CAPTCHA mod that I made. Because we can simplify that now by rendering atlases as text instead of just items. And the slaughter begins! And they are dead. D-E-D-A dead. That's how you spell it. Wow, the ghost blocks. Holy game. Keep up with the program. Oh, and that is the WAN show. So, quick look at this waterlogged cave. Will I say thank you all for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. Please make sure to leave a like on the stream on your way out. Sorry for a whole hour of silence there in the middle. It was a thing. Anyhow, leave a like on the stream. Comment once the stream's videos. Tell me what you thought of it. You know, so turn on notifications so you'll be notified of future streams like this one. Play my game, linked in the description, and I will see you all. That's the wrong button. Hey, I gotta get this prepared. Alright, we'll see you all in the next live stream video thing. Bye!